Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to TVI episode 199. Fuck.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's crazy. Julian is currently stuck in traffic, so we're going to start without him. Guest, Peter Jones, Australian. We've got some questions about your name, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Are you aware there's a famous... Yeah.
I am aware.
All right, okay. We'll get into that later when Julian's in.
Yeah,
We've got
great.
Lucas on the ones and twos.
Hello.
Lucas.
So Julian will be... We're kind of a countdown to when Julian gets here. So I reckon he'll be 10 minutes late.
Yeah, he's not usually that late.
How long did he say he would be?
He said, I think I might be a couple of minutes late. And then he messaged saying, I think actually I'm going to be on time.
Oh.
Obviously then... Like, yeah, the traffic's obviously... You can't drive anywhere in London at the minute. Do you drive?
No, all
It's-
public transport.
So I got rid of my car years ago. My ex-wife took it when we broke up. I said that I just
In a way, you got rid of it.
like for environmental reasons.
Yeah.
And we broke up, and she had the car. But I thought I'll try and not have a car.
Yeah.
And it's so much better not having a car in London. Like, 'cause every time I use zip cars now, the traffic is unacceptable. Like, it's the shittest. Like, there is roadworks in every single part of London.
Yeah.
It's like, surely, I'm not being rude, but when are they going to finish London? Like, do you know what I mean? London should be finished by now.
The last time I've driven twice in London, or I've been in a car twice in London. One time I drove, and the other time recently driving to a gig.
Yeah.
From where I got into the car to we were in the car for an hour, and we moved what took me by train 8 minutes.
Oh, man.
And we were in it for an hour, and we were about to get onto the highway, and right before we got onto the highway, ran into the back of the car in front of it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got out of the car. I was like, obviously, the car was...
You weren't driving this
I wasn't driving.
That's the best.
I wasn't driving, not my car, but the car was totaled. We couldn't get to the gig.
Oh, fuck.
So...
Where was the gig? Where were you actually due to get to?
Nebworth, off to Nebworth.
Oh, yeah, I know Nebworth.
But it was train strike day, which is why we were in the cars.
Yeah.
And then I just got off, and when I left the scene, I just got back onto...
crime scene.
I didn't have to walk very far to get back onto the train stop.
Man.
We'd been in the car for an hour. We'd watched a woman cross the road, and one of the other acts had made a comment. She'd made a comment on her dress. Like,
Yeah.
nice dress. And then we watched her return with her full shopping.
Oh, man. Disgusting. It's who you don't want to say who was crashing the car.
It was the other act, her boyfriend.
Okay.
Driving.
All right.
so the generosity to drive to the gig,
man.
and then the brutality of being of the
It's horrible, isn't it? I remember me and I don't think she does stand up anymore. Holly Walsh, she's now a writer, and she was really a great stand up. But when we once were driving together, I was driving, and we were driving to Leicester. It was a Friday evening, and hit loads of traffic on the way out of London. And then my car essentially blew up. Like just as we were coming onto the M1 motorway off like the slip road on.
Yeah.
You know, really busy M1s, everyone's zinging past. This is a fast sort of feeding lane. Just smoke started bellowing out of my engine, like black smoke coming out. And then the engine just started losing power.
Yeah.
And I had my foot right down and just slowly just like came. And I had to I veered over to like where the lane joined the M1. Obviously, there's a barrier between there.
Yeah.
And I veered just right in front of like the barrier. So I was just out of the way of both lines of traffic. And we just had to get out and we didn't know. We're like, what do we do? We're on the motorway.
Yeah.
And the car is broken, like. And we ended up we called the RAC and all that, and obviously by the time he got there, he went, "This you are never driving this car again. Like it's dead. You've literally this is a dead car that you are going to have to scrap." And he was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, what do you do?" He goes, "Well, we tow it to somewhere local that you can leave it and then get it sort of picked up for scrap." So he towed us to Brent Cross, just a residential road. And like we'd set off so early because it was a Friday that for some reason we made this mad pact that we were going to make the gig regardless. So we wasted a couple of hours obviously on this RAC thing, and we worked out when we were at Brent Cross, if we got the tube to King's Cross, we could just about make a train to get to Leicester. And we made like the last train we could make, and it was expensive. We had to buy it there. And then but it was almost like this sort of odyssey, like we're gonna make this gig, even though like 2 hours ago we were sat on the motorway waiting for the RAC, and we just made it, and it was so we ended up like got hysterical with like how stupid this like just cancel the gig, mate. Gigs don't mean that much. Why are you fighting like tooth and nail to get there? Now I cancel a gig if I wake up and I've got a minor headache. Nowadays, I'll cancel the gig for any old shit, man.
How was the gig? Worth the journey?
No, it was shit as well. It was.
I mean, it's got to be, right?
It was a really ill-advised tour called the Best of the Leicester Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
They did it one and done, lost a fortune, and it was me, Holly Walsh, Jared Christmas, and Stuart Francis. Have you ever seen Stuart Francis?
No.
He doesn't. He's retired now, but he was an exceptional joke writer. Like he was one of the best one-liner comedians, and he was from Canada, but he got really famous here for about 5 years because he did like he did the first series of like Michael McIntyre's Roadshow, and then the first season of Live at the Apollo, and was so just funny, and it was all one-liners, so it's perfect for TV. And he just got really famous and just he did like 3 or 4 years of like really big tours, and then just retired. So I'm done, mate. I'm out. Like, he never liked. But like I knew him relatively well, and I always got the vibe that he did not like hanging around with other comedians.
Yeah.
He was older and he was a bit done with it, and he'd been on the road in Canada probably for 30 years and shit. But yeah, we did this tour, the 4 of us, and it was just a big theatres in the sort of the Leicestershire area, and like I'm saying, I don't think we played to more than about 60 people, and a lot of them venues were like 600 seaters. Fucking horrible. I remember it was there was one that was like a sports hall, hard floor, and I remember on the way to the gig we were having a conversation about like shit, like heckle put downs, and there was that old famous one. Have you ever heard the one like where'd you learn to whisper in a helicopter?
Yeah,
it's an old sort of jonglers sort of thing where. And we were just laughing about all these old crap lines. And Stuart was on stage, and he made us cry with this, like, because it was obviously just for us, like at the back of the room. But at one point, somebody wasn't enjoying his set, and this lady got up and walked out, like towards the toilets, just whatever. But she was wearing high heels, and because it was a hardwood floor, it was so like doom, 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 echoing around this slightly empty hall. And he went, "Hey, lady, where'd you learn to walk in a helicopter?" And we just fucking lost it, man. Only people laughing in the room. Oh, it's so funny. Anyway, so you've moved to London now.
Yes.
How long have you been here?
Moved in September last year.
After Edinburgh, you did Edinburgh.
Yeah, did Edinburgh, then moved down after that.
And so, where do you live in London? Let's talk geography first.
West Ealing, out west.
Ealing. Okay, yeah, I know. Oh, because I know. You live. I know. Yeah, I won't say it. I know who's a
You know my landlord.
yeah. It's quite a funny landlord to have. I won't say because he wouldn't. He doesn't. I don't know why. He wouldn't be weird about it, but it's I don't want to divulge people's financial situation. But yes, I mean, I imagine he's the most laid back landlord.
He's quite laid back landlord, great landlord.
Yes, and Ealing is an interesting place. It's a bit, it is quite far out. Like, but it's nice.
We've got the Elizabeth line now.
Oh yeah,
we're connected.
Of course. No, yeah, that would have changed everything.
It's actually not too bad to get into the center of the city, and air conditioning, and the best line.
The Elizabeth line is
I work for the Elizabeth
outrageous. Do you? Oh no, I was going to say I thought you got like some new job of like.
I got a sponsorship deal with the Elizabeth line.
Got a little side thing going on, a little side hustle, promoting the Elizabeth line. It is amazing. Like I was at a funeral. I've been to so many funerals recently. I went to a funeral yesterday, which is why I'm a little bit hungover. That's the truth. But I went to one 2 weeks ago, and it was out in some mad it looked so far east London, but it's like the Elizabeth line stopped right there, and then the wake was in Farringdon, and we just jumped on the Elizabeth line it's beautiful. 10 minutes to Farringdon. And it was miles, and it did it in 10 minutes. And then we went into Soho for drinks after when the Wake pub shut. And from Farringdon to Tottenham Court Road was 5 minutes. Like, we were all like, this is unbelievable. Like little kids on the lovely big train. But,
and air conditioning the entire time.
Very good. Although I'm not the biggest fan of, I don't know if they've changed this now. This is about a year ago when this happened to me. Certain times of day, they don't stop at all stops. Because I was meant to be doing a gig. I was doing a gig in where was it? Somewhere west. Wouldn't have been that. It would have been the other side of Ealing, further out.
Yeah.
And I saw there was a stop on the Elizabeth line that was like probably about a 10-minute walk to it. And I thought, okay, so that'll be fine. If I could, and it was quite a tight double I was doing, but I was like, if I just make this train, get there, I'll be fine. And I'd nailed it. I'd run out of my first gig, got to the train, all that, sat on the Elizabeth line, like I'm going to make it with like 10 minutes to spare. Sweet. And then just watched as the Elizabeth line sailed through that stop. And but the next stop was miles away. I had to just jump in an Uber in there to hold the brake and sort of, end up being like 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
Because it just sailed on through. No mention. Obviously I had headphones in, but I didn't hear them say, we will not be stopping at the next stop. So I think there are certain smaller stations it just fucks off after a certain time.
Yeah, it can alternate between like sometimes it will and sometimes
They also don't stop at certain platforms. Like they'll only like the first 6 carriages. You'll only be able to get off at the platform.
Yeah, that happens on the tube sometimes.
I
isn't it?
missed on the Elizabeth line. I was at the back 2 carriages and I was running through the train trying to get to the front 4 carriages, and I didn't make it.
Oh man!
I mean, I won't hear this Elizabeth line slander.
We're saying that there are teething problems, even though it's technically the best line by some way. So Ealing, okay. And how are you finding the UK comedy scene? Because you've been in comedy in Melbourne for a long time.
Yeah, for a while now.
How long were you doing? When did you
I was
start?
doing it for like 9 years in Melbourne before moving over here. Yeah, it's great. There's so much comedy.
There's a lot of comedy here. Like it's almost hard to get across to people like just how many gigs there are.
Yeah.
Like, on any given weekend in central, or not even central, all around London, there must be on a Friday night 60 gigs or something.
Something insane.
Like mad. Nowhere else has got that. Not even New York's got that, is it? Like, I think it is the most populated. And not obviously. There is a sliding scale of quality to those gigs. I'm not saying all 60 are absolute rocking shows, but you've got probably 20 big clubs.
Yeah,
that is it's madness.
You can also get on a train for 2 hours and go to another city that has a bunch of shows in it.
Yeah.
Whereas in Australia, as you know, you jump on a train for 2 hours from Melbourne. It's just like, okay, well, now I'm in still nowhere.
Wollongong, which is actually somewhere that is.
That actually is good.
I did a gig in Wollongong. That's what, an hour?
It's probably an hour
west
of Sydney.
Nice place. I actually did a weird little corporate event there just before Melbourne Comedy Festival to launch the Go West Fund, which is a Victorian government funded. They sort of put some arts funding into the western suburbs. I don't know why I'm now saying it like I'm part of the campaign. Really good places like Wollongong. You're going to be seeing them coming up in the in the future. But it was I've been there. I've been to Wollongong 4 times.
Wollongong or Geelong?
Wollongong. Geelong's even further out, isn't it?
Wollongong's in.
I'm
New
saying
South Wales.
wrong. I'm not saying. I'm talking about Werribee.
Oh, Werribee. Yeah, right.
So Wollongong. I did go to Wollongong for the first time this year. That's why that word was stuck in my head. So Werribee was where I did. I've been 4 times, which no one who doesn't live in Werribee should ever. People have been there 4 times. But Wollongong's lovely.
Yeah, Wollongong's nice too.
Like shockingly nice, because I did some roadshow there.
Yeah,
and I saw I got offered a little run of roadshow, and it just basically was like regional New South Wales, and I was like, boo. Sometimes there's some real Hollywood legs of that roadshow. Have you ever done any of it?
No, I haven't done it.
Like the Queensland leg is just, you're on holiday.
Yeah,
just doing big nice shows each night, but you're just I once did Cairns down to Brisbane, and it was like just glorious. And some others, there's like Darwin's really cool, and loads of it is real sort of.
Have you done the WA leg where you go to like the mining town?
I did a couple of bits of WA, but then I've also done regional, Victoria. And when you get into the proper just centre, once you go inland and it's all mining towns, that's when you're like, it's not as holiday-ish, much more a working trip. Although it's still interesting going to those sorts of towns. But where are you from in Australia?
I grew up in Western Sydney.
Western Sydney, okay.
I was in Melbourne for the last 10 years, but yeah, grew up in Western Sydney, way out west.
And Sydney, because Sydney's I find Sydney it's really expensive. Sydney.
Yeah.
Like obviously everywhere is expensive in the world now. It's we all know that. It's just impossible now. Like I see people tweet about it sometimes that you go out for a walk and you might grab a coffee and whatever, and you just spend £50. It's like, how has this happened? I've just gone for a walk. They're like. Yeah, I've noticed. It's mad. Like I went for drinks the night before last. and we did go to a swanky bar, but me and my mate got 2 gin and tonics, and they were like big, healthy, probably doubles, but it was £31 for 2 gin and tonics. It's not on, is it? But it was a swanky bar, and I couldn't say like no when you said it. It's £31. No, it's not actually, mate, is it?
At that point, if you haven't, that happened to me one time with soda water. You ever order soda water and it comes
Which should
back?
be 10p.
Yeah, or free.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But like even
Especially if it's just a gun. If it's a gun one,
oh.
Obviously if they're opening a bottle and they have to purchase.
Yeah.
But soda water out of that gun.
Out of the gun.
Surely they're just carbonating it in a barrel somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happened in Australia. It was $6, which is about £3.
Fuck.
And I wanted. I have to be next time. I have to be like, no, I'm not. Sorry. You can keep it.
Yeah. No,
you keep it.
It should be, yeah. If you've not drunk it, I think technically you should be able to go, do you know what, actually, I've changed it. You can do it with anything else. If you take a pair of jeans to the counter and they say, oh, these are £100, you're allowed to go, actually, I think I'll skip it. You should be able to do it with food and drink. You order a whole dinner and it comes and you're like, no.
Actually, I don't want it.
Yeah, I'm going to leave now. I'm afraid.
I spent £5 on a pint of lemonade once at a pub.
Fuck that.
But basically what I think why pubs do it is because people sneak in their own liquor sometimes and pour it in.
So they're trying to make their loss.
They're trying to prevent that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it's ridiculous for people who aren't drinking as well because they're encouraged to, like, they're spending so much money on non-alcoholic drinks. They're like, why would I bother not drinking? When I can just spend £5 on a lemonade, I can just buy a beer.
Yeah.
So it's really encouraging a drinking problem, I think.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Pubs should be held accountable for that.
My friend's always he sort of set a rule that the moment the average price of a pint in pubs hits £7, he's giving up alcohol. that's his cut-off point.
The average price.
Yeah.
Like, check out a few locals.
Well, I suppose if you go to if you go to a bar in Soho, it's going to be £7.50 for a pint of a nice beer. A pint of bloody Brixton fucking lager, whatever. But what he means is like your run-of-the-mill, like, sort of, you'd be in a pub in Tooting or Ealing, whatever, just go for it and just get a normal pint, kind of a pint of Carlsberg. If they say £7, he's always like, oh, that's the day I give up alcohol. So that's the end of the world, isn't it?
Finally sober.
It's so, yeah. It is. I mean, but it is nice then when you find a pub. Like last night, after I went to a funeral and there was the wake, and then me and a couple of mates just went to a nice little pub near me, and that's relatively reasonable. We were getting 3 drinks and getting change, like it was under £15. Ooh. Lovely. Here he is. Julian Deane is in the house, everyone. Wearing sliders. Sorry.
Hey mate, how's it going? That's good.
Sliders, mate.
Yeah,
loving the sliders.
I know, man. It's just so comfortable.
They are comfortable, but you do also look like an outpatient. Someone on day release.
Hey.
Yeah, you two have not met.
No, we've not met.
But how's the traffic, mate?
It's lovely, man. It's nice, isn't it?
Bit of a sit for a while.
We've been discussing London traffic and it's just how far it takes so long to drive around London.
Oh man, it's only like 11 miles for like over an hour.
Yeah, that is.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, you do find that. Like, it took me 2 hours the other week, over 2.25 hours the other week to drive from St Albans to southwest London, and I reckon that's probably, I'm going to say 25 miles or something, like 30 miles maybe, and
bullshit.
like that is any other country that people would be like, that is, how can that happen?
I know.
It's sort of.
Does that happen in Oz?
No, not that. Not the traffic here where it's just like actual standstill.
Yeah, even right in the heart of the cities. I've driven around Melbourne CBD, and it's not. It's busy and it's traffic, but like you still move.
Even
regularly.
when the football's coming out, and like
Yeah.
there's another event on, you filled the roads. You still move. Like you'll still move at some pace.
It's such bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because I'm quite zen, and I sort of tend to. Be quite good when things are annoying. I tend to be quite sort of like just get my head right, and I'm like, this is okay. I can live with this. Traffic's one of the only ones that does challenge.
Yeah, you can be zen to a point.
It's because there's nothing you can do. I think it's that hopelessness of like, Well, what I can't just, unless you have a full-on psychotic episode, do like falling down to leave your car and go and shoot up some people.
It's a good time to practice.
But yeah,
patience.
because you have to just accept it. There's no other alternative.
Yeah.
Getting upset, you're only hurting yourself. But it's hard traffic. So it is one of the only ones that sort of does get me. And when people stand in the shop doorways having a conversation in a doorway of a shop.
Yeah.
The most. That's literally where people are coming and going through.
Immigrants, you mean? Oh, sorry.
Tourists.
Oh,
It tends to be tourists. Let's not call them immigrants.
That's what you call Tourist. That's another word.
But yeah, so it is often,
them lot.
Them, those people.
Not local to this country.
No, just coming over here with their wacky ways.
Slow drivers are annoying me lately, though. Like I feel like I'm more impatient now. At the moment. I don't know why.
Because I suppose when you say slow drivers, like
they're just really dawdling, and I'm like, I need them to move.
Yeah.
I prefer like a boy racer in front.
Well, at least they're moving.
You know what I mean? Yeah, at least they're fucking.
Yes, I find it on motorways.
They're clearing the way for you.
On motorways, if somebody's not in the slow lane and they're doing under the speed limit, I'm going to ram you off the road.
I know, yeah.
The slow lane is the one for speed limit and below.
Yeah.
Middle lane and fast lane
who's
are for
below
illegal
this?
driving. That's the way it should work. It's the only options.
No.
Like, I remember Hannah, because my wife, Hannah's from Melbourne, and like when she first moved over here, and the first time we sort of drove down on a motorway, she couldn't understand why everyone was going so far over the speed limit in the fast lane.
Yeah.
They were like that, but they're all like visibly breaking the law. And like I tried to explain that she was like, because in Australia people don't really break.
No, not
speed.
to that extent. No,
But here it is like you'll have somebody go past you doing 110 miles an hour on the motorway. And you'll just be like, oh, all right, hello, mate. It's like you laugh about it. It's like, but that is so far.
Criminal.
Yeah. And I do it.
There goes a criminal.
And every time you overtake anyone, you're doing 80, 85, 90, whatever, just to get around them. And then you're back in the middle lane. And it's like, hang on, but yeah, and it's totally normal, but it easily you are breaking the law.
I think it's weird when you're doing 70 and someone's up your arse, like, like, what shall I break the law, mate?
Yeah.
You know
what lane are you in? If you're in the fast lane, I do think you're in the wrong.
I'm on the pavement. Oh, you mean in the road? And it's the feds. I'm in a shopping centre.
And he's up my ass trying to get through.
Yeah. But yeah, no. If you're in a fast lane doing the speed limit, then I think people are allowed to give you a bit of grief.
Yeah, but
get out of the way.
But it's weird, isn't it? Because they're allowed to. You think it's normal, but like you're going the fastest
you're technically doing the right thing, but they, I think, might have the moral high ground.
If I'm doing the speed limit or like a little bit over, and someone is riding my ass, I always slow down.
Oh, you to annoy them more?
It's the
Always
best
to annoy
thing
them.
to do. Yeah,
all I
want
to do is annoy them more.
Yeah.
I once got a lift to a gig in Plymouth, which is so far. That's like a 6-hour drive to the very bottom of the country with an Australian comedian who doesn't do it anymore called Richard Brophy. He was from Sydney. He's a lovely guy.
I remember Richard,
Yeah, and then he became an inventor for a bit. Did you ever hear about that?
Did he invent?
You can become an inventor.
Did he invent a joke?
Because I didn't see him for years.
Really,
I've got an amazing story about him, actually. It's so, I mean, I won't.
He was a good guy.
I won't say the word, but I'll
2010.
explain what he said. I don't know if I told this on there before. One of his first gigs he did after he landed from Sydney was in Streatham in southwest London, near where I'm from. Very ethnically diverse part of the world. Mm-hmm. He was on stage doing really well. He was super charming and like charismatic and likable. And he was just sort of like, smiling, making them laugh, and he was having a good gig. And then he started talking about cricket, and England had just lost a test or something to Pakistan. And he said he didn't realise that in Australia, like people from Pakistan, they're referred to in a word that you don't say here because it was.
What's the word, Carl?
I'm trying to, because there's a few words.
It's a shorter.
Which one?
Well, basically, yeah.
What's your favourite?
we have obviously in Australia, because that word never had any baggage with it. It wasn't a racial slur. It said it's a normal, like, because you shorten every word in Australia.
The P word.
So, but in here it was so loaded because of like 70s and 80s racism, where it was shouted at people and stuff. Julian used to shout at people in the street.
Yeah, 2023 racism.
I think driving through the shopping centre.
Today you were shouting out your window, a slow driver in front of you. No, but it's a horrible word in this country. But Brophy on stage was talking about the cricket. He went, so I hear you guys just lost and just said the P word. Because he had no idea it was a slur here. And the crowd obviously just sort of almost went silent with shock because you wouldn't have heard that on stage for 30 years here. Like, it'd be like saying the N-word. Like, you know what I mean? But like,
it is up there.
And not in a sort of like, in attempting some weird irony or whatever bullshit. But like literally just saying it in a sentence. He was just
abbreviating,
But he said it so casually. And the crowd were just like, and it just died for the next 2 minutes. Then he came off and he said to me, like, I don't know what happened there. Like, I was going really well, and I was like, well, what happened is you said a racial slur.
A harsh, violent word.
Yeah. And I had to explain to him that, and he learned then in that. Like,
I'm just realising why some of my gigs are not going.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
You can say the N-word here.
Okay, that's good.
No, don't worry.
I have been. I didn't realise you could.
Cool,
But okay, great.
Open with it.
Yeah.
But he was the worst driver I've ever got a lift to. Plymouth. He drove the whole way on the motorway in the fast lane doing 55 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
Like, it was so frustrating. He had to keep moving. Everyone would get up his arse beat. He'd move into the middle lane. They'd pass, and then he'd move back into the fast lane that slow. And you can't, when somebody's giving you a 6-hour lift to Plymouth, you can't tell them how to drive.
Can't they put your foot down?
Yeah.
I ain't got all day.
Exactly.
Bro.
So you just got to suck it up and just hate every minute of it.
When we were newer, like, I once got him to replace me at a gig.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, nice one. And he did the gig. And afterwards, he didn't really speak to me. The gig was so bad. So weird. Like it was my fault.
Yeah.
But I bumped into him in Edinburgh months later. This was 2010. And he was like, like it was all like as if I'd set
you.
It was like I'd set him up or something. I didn't. Like, it was
funny.
so weird.
Just pranked him.
Yeah.
How have you found quality of gigs here? Like, what sort of? Have you been travelling much, doing a lot of out of town stuff?
Yeah, I've done a little bit out of town.
Yeah.
It varies wildly, the quality of gig, to like some of the best gigs to a gig that is worse than any gig I've ever done before in my life.
Anywhere in the world.
I mean, there is. I just remember, like, I mean, I suppose it's because you're entering newer. Like, you're trying to sort of, bed in, and so I think that because I do think a lot of. I remember when I was new. Some of the new act gigs that we would have done back in the sort of 2008, 2007 or whatever, it was basically performing to 6 comedians and a Swedish family. It was just
there was that little pub down near Westminster. Did you ever do that? And it was downstairs. It was like an open.
It was what was it called? Fuck, I know. I do remember
right near
that.
Parliament, wasn't it?
Yeah,
a nice area.
That was a nice.
I remember doing 2 people once.
Oh my God,
2 people in the audience.
I heard that. I'm like, oh, that's not bad actually. Only 6 comedians, and there's a Swedish family in there. That's all right, actually.
I was filming my special.
And the Swedish family were up for it. They were laughers. They were into it. That's all right.
That's the funny. Again, those gigs, sometimes obviously some of the acts might be a bit newer and a bit more, what's the word? Like earnest.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember just when I was new, I always had quite a good gauge that like, I don't want to be doing this gig. Like, I'm using it for me. I'm not pretending this is a great gig. But some of the other acts, they'd be like, there'd be like 3 people
on 10, like eyes and then their teeth performance.
And afterwards, there'd be 3 people. It'd be thankless, and they'd be like, yeah, but they were really nice 3, weren't they? Like really up for it. I was like, mate, shut up. It makes me want to kill myself.
I don't care if they're nice.
Yeah.
It's like when you see the videos will come up from like a bad gig, and I almost want to just like message and be like, you don't have to put that. You don't have to tell anyone you did it. I'm not telling anyone I did the gig. You don't need to tell.
I've been sent like a few times like online. Sort of new acts have sent me because they've seen me and like what I do, and they've asked for advice on their set, and they'll send me like a link to their YouTube, like where they've put like their second ever gig on YouTube. And you can't say to them, it's hard to say to them, look, well, first off, my advice is take that offline now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
do not wait a year or something. Just wait until you've got more confidence and you look a bit more natural on stage and stuff. Because it literally is watching an open spot, just like stuttering through words. You're like, fuck, man. What are you putting it online? You don't have to put everything online. Every gig doesn't have to be filmed, guys. Yeah. But yeah, so you've been traveling, you've been doing, and yeah, so how are you finding it? Is it, This must be it's hard to must be hard to start again in another country.
Yeah, it's humbling.
How long are you here for?
I'm here for at least 5 years. So I'm here for.
So what's your visa situation?
I'm on an ancestry visa.
I bumped into Michael Schaefer. Who's just done the same.
Also on an ancestry visa.
He's on the ancestry visa. How does that work?
So it's
how far back does it have to go?
My grandmother is English. And so...
Because surely, technically, every 90% of white Australians, ancestry-wise, would probably be British. You know what I mean? If you actually go far enough back. So, does it have to be an immediate, a grandparent?
Yeah, it's my grandmother.
Right.
And so my dad could get a passport.
Yeah.
But I can get ancestry visa. And so Kate, my fiance, she's able to get in on that too.
Right, okay.
So we're both on that ancestry. Thanks, Grandma.
Nice.
All right, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite easy to get into England, is it? It's harder than the other way.
It's...
How do you feel? Yeah, Australian, the visa system is a little bit trickier, I reckon.
Even the 2-year visa you can get if you're we can get it, if we're under 35, we can get a 2-year visa to here. But I think if you go the other way, you have to do farm work.
Yeah. You have.
Which farm work?
Have you not heard about this?
You don't know about this? It's crazy.
It's not just it's not a couple of days.
No. For a long period of time.
It's 2
They
months
shouldn't tell you until you get there.
I think it's a pretty funny...
2 years on the farm.
Yeah. Stamping it, right.
There's your digs.
Now you're a farmer. What?
It could just be a prank we're playing. Just on
I only come here for 2 gigs. Only come here for a weekend.
Gotta go pick berries for a little while.
Yeah, it's mad. Can you check? Can you Google how long the actual farm work is for?
It could be 3 months or something.
That sounds really good, though.
But some people said it's nice. You go off into some weird little regional town, and some people have had great experiences. Some people I know were it was fucked, man.
I met a bunch of.
I don't want to pick strawberries. I'm on holiday.
No, all right. In 100 degrees.
Just gone traveling, backpacking.
I met some who
you get paid for it though.
You get, I mean, it depends. Again, it also depends on the type of farm that you get with.
Oh, really?
One of them, they were delivering calves with cow. That was part of their farm work. Was they were delivering.
Fuck.
That grossed me out.
Just because you want to stay in Sydney in a hostel.
So
you got your hand up a cow's ass.
And he wanted to go to Bondi.
Because I thought the same thing. If I had to come here and it's just you got to go live on a farm.
Got to work in a car factory.
Yeah. Got to go down the mines for a couple of months.
Go work in Aldi.
It used to be 3 months, but I think they have got rid of it now.
Okay.
21, they got rid of it. But yeah, it used to
that
be
is a
3
shame.
Of paid farm work, yeah. Because I remember looking into it or someone telling me about it, but it is a thing.
How do you think you'd fare on a farm?
Very
Lucas?
poorly. Very pasty. So I'd
imagine.
be a tomato by the end.
Oh, man.
I did meet one girl who she did it and she was just I was just fuck this, I'm just going to treat it like it's a resort. So she'd use the bathroom and be I'm just going to have a bath. And everyone would be come on, you got it. And she's nah, fuck this. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Sack you?
Yeah. They're getting, because I think the farms also get money from the government to have the workers work there.
What?
So it's a bit of a...
Double.
Yeah, they're getting
subsidies.
They're getting
and
cheaper
free
labor. And they're getting subsidies for it. Not a bad little scheme.
Right, it sounds how did that ever get off the ground? It's always that sort of, you see, there's routines about who was the first one to say that?
Yeah.
Imagine that meeting, you know what I mean, where somebody was right, I've got an idea here. All tourists have to be farm workers.
Yeah. To mow the lawn.
Yeah, it's mad. But I was about to say something, I totally forgot what it is. Oh, let's do some questions now before we sort of go over the 45-minute mark. We've got, so your name did come up obviously when I said,
oh yes,
because the first person did a joke about how much money have you made out of reggae sauce. Do you get that reference?
I do actually get that reference now.
Do you know? Because Peter Jones obviously was a dragon on Dragon's Den, and that's where. So I didn't realize reggae sauce came out of Dragon's Den.
It was pitched on Dragon's Den initially.
Isn't it?
No, then he made a song about
it. But what's his name? Levi,
and a musical, apparently.
Levi Roots. But that's not his real name, is it? I've heard it's a sort of, it's a bit of a myth. He's created this character.
Yeah.
Can we bring it up?
My name is Brian.
I think it's sort of like I've heard word, and it's now I've just slandered somebody.
Levi Roots. I bet he's a multi-millionaire now, isn't he?
Keith Valentine Graham.
Also a good name.
It is Valentine.
Keith Valentine's all right.
spices it up. But Keith Graham.
Keith Graham,
that's the pretty.
Is he an English guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
British Jamaican. Worth 30 million. So
Jesus.
made some
I will
serious
say,
Lumber Club.
I will say, free advertising for Keith is the reggae barbecue sauce.
Yeah?
It's the best barbecue sauce.
Is it?
It's so spicy and lovely, and it's wicked. So good on you.
My
Good on you, Keith.
Might get a bottle.
Do it. It's
Neck
wicked. Anyway.
Yeah, so my name's the same as his name.
I suppose, and then a follow-up question to that would be,
Levi
was
Roots.
Peter Jones.
if you were Peter Jones, what would you do with all his money? I suppose that's
Couple of brasses.
I would probably...
And while I think of stuff, get horny and then see what I needed. It's always good to purchase when you're horny.
Never go shopping when you're hungry or horny. Those are the rules.
Oh God. Yes. I mean, how much do we know? Oh God.
Billionaire.
Sorry to
He is a
keep getting you to
billionaire.
Google stuff.
Is he a billionaire?
He is a billionaire.
Is he actually a billionaire?
He's a
Peter
billionaire.
Jones' net worth.
What does he even own?
reggae.
He's got that sauce.
Ah, so
Hamage.
say he takes a nice little 30% of that sauce or something, does he?
1.1 billion.
Woo,
Yeah, he's
mama.
not bad.
Billy.
Fucking
That's
Taras.
so much money.
It is a lot. I think I would go on Dragon's Den. I mean, if you had that
Oh,
money,
if you become a dragon.
you become a dragon.
I don't even just go on it.
I just would go on it with my own.
I'm just rich. I just wanted to tell someone.
You can get a percent for 25%. You can have some of this money. Because
How did he start then? What
What was his story?
How did he get his
Because
first?
there's Bannatyne was
How'd
the
he
other
get
one.
his
The other
first
Duncan
20
Bannatyne.
quid?
I did find out about it because
Computers, I
I checked
think.
into a show
Computers.
Yeah, I think so.
and
Yeah.
she asked what name I was under. I said, Peter Jones. She goes, like the dragon. And she goes, I bet you get that all the time. I'm like, I've never heard that before in my life.
But if I was a billionaire, did we talk about this last week? We were talking about those submarine billionaires.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm saying it's people loads of people online were sort of like shocked. Why would they go down in that submarine? It's like, because you're a billionaire. If I was a billionaire, I think you'd be so, because you're so above normal social mores. You're outside of the system. You're above the law. You're richer than country. You know what I mean? Sort of small, very tiny country. But I do think it would go to your head and you'd just be doing mad shit.
He was an
mate.
explorer, that guy, though, when he some
One of them was
mad
yeah.
adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, of course. And I reckon I'm not saying I'd be climbing Everest or something, but I wouldn't be surprised if I was, jumping off a cliff in a wingsuit or something.
Just to feel anything?
Just to feel. I need a
Because
challenge.
you can have every luxury.
anything you
I
want.
suppose they're a bit psychopathic, aren't they? But they've got, they're not murdering anyone. They're just getting their
But they
heads.
want to.
Yeah.
But you probably could. If a billionaire, I reckon you'd kill someone.
Yeah. You could have someone killed.
Yeah, you could have someone killed.
Easy.
But I reckon you could just create a system where you could kill people one a week. Like just get a team of people.
But even that would
Better-
become routine.
That's
Bit
true.
person.
Yeah.
And then you got to be killing 2 a week.
I
Just
mean,
to
it's
feel
horrible. I'm not saying this is disgusting, but homeless people say you get your team to pick one up, take him to a secure
I
location.
suspect if
What's
you were
disgusting about that?
yeah, what do you think?
That's what I mean. It's horrible, but you obviously would work it within the
Keep
terrible
tidy.
system. God.
But there was those kids in America that would get homeless bum fights, wouldn't they? They get
They'd pay him to fight.
Yeah, that was out.
That's
of order,
horrible.
man. That's horrible, isn't it?
I suspect if you're a billionaire, though, you'd want even to see how high up you could go in terms of the sort of person you could get into those fights.
I thought you meant who could how high up the social ladder could you kill?
Oh, yeah,
before
also
it would
that.
before it become a problem.
Yeah, before anyone notices.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's a lot.
That's not what I'd do with the money.
I'm just saying.
Man, it's like your 5-year plan when you're in England.
I'd probably just buy an island and live on it. Just to be honest, I think I would buy
like
it.
Epstein.
And then ship in some kids and
Get
some
your
mates.
own laws.
Yeah.
Have your own plane. Meet Chris Tucker, all that sort of stuff.
Is that? I mean, I don't really. I obviously he's a wrong 'un. Epstein was. I don't really know much about it. I think he was a bad egg.
Yeah.
But
he was silly rich, wasn't he? Like $500 million or something.
yeah.
The fuck did he?
But I mean, I suppose being a pimped, for billionaires.
But I suppose the
It's
money.
money.
He got into that after the money, I think, though, didn't he? It was
I
like a
don't know.
hedge fund manager.
Okay.
I think.
But what I was saying was often, and this is not, I think he was guilty and all that stuff. And obviously there was a lot of people that were tied in with him that were up to bad shit. But when people say like, anyone that was in his little black book, whatever, they're always saying they need to publish all the names in the black book.
Yeah,
if you're a billionaire hedge fund manager, I reckon you've got a lot of contacts. I don't think everyone in that
They're not
book was
all
a
nonsense.
nonce. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
actually, it's just often it's sort of they just assume if it like.
It could be people he's trying to contact so that
Unless
they-
on the front of the book it said
You know,
to
try
offer
to
it
pitch it.
yeah,
like nonce.
but they might have absolutely not been into
Yeah.
it. So I do think
it's just people he might suspect.
yeah, they give a whiff.
You covering your tracks.
Just saying.
I did a little business with him.
Just saying if you're in,
Yeah,
if
send
your
him a
name's
couple of
there,
emails.
it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, could have just been one phone call, man.
So if they do release it, just a bit of a heads up, not everyone on that list is necessarily a bad person. Somebody hanging out with the wrong crowd. That's all who's on there.
It's so powerful, I guess, that won't be released, will it? Well, why isn't it released now?
Well, probably because most of the top people
They
in the country
decide
are
on
in
what's
it.
released. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. So why it's I think
Like Bill Clinton was visited a few times, didn't he?
yeah. That fat pedo. No, I'm joking.
That lucky bastard. Must have been amazing there, though.
Oh God.
God, imagine that. Lawless. Not really. I wouldn't. I'd have fucking stopped it, mate.
Oh yeah.
If you'd been
Stop
on
a sec, it's my turn.
in the middle, just like, this is all wrong.
Do you remember that guy who
When
got
in
touch
Rome.
the guy who got in touch on Twitter a couple of weeks ago saying, "Look, guys, I love the podcast, but can you stop talking about paedophiles?"
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Was he scared or
Yeah, exactly.
fucking nonce? Not really.
Right.
Sorry,
what is
by the way.
this? What is this? If I pop in and buy a watch today, will you throw in a pair of earrings for the missus? Who said? What is that about?
I don't know.
Oh, is your name a watch shop as well?
Oh, it's also it is a department store. Peter Jones, a department
in
store.
Sydney.
No, in London, I think.
Peter Jones department store.
Yeah, it's jewellery actually.
Oh, it's jewelry store.
Sloane Square. There we
is
go.
that
Sloane
so?
Square.
That guy might own that then.
I think it's different Peter Jones.
Oh, there's a lot of you lot, isn't there?
There's Peter Jackson.
There's a few of us.
Oh, no, it's the wrong one. Sorry.
So where did you grow up? Melbourne.
I grew up in Sydney, out west of Sydney, but I've been living in
Whereabouts in Sydney?
Melbourne. Way out west in Quakers Hill.
Ah.
What is? Do you know who Stan Grant is?
Yeah.
There's a question about Stan Grant. I don't know who that is. Basically, the question is, having read about Stan Grant's recent resignation, I'm wondering if the stand-up circuit in Australia is a bit Chubby Brown / Bernard Manning, which are like old school,
Yeah.
sort of, racist.
Stan Grant was the host of Q&A and he resigned because he kept getting a lot of racist comments from the public.
He would get racist comments.
He would get
from the
racist
public.
comics.
Right.
He would get racist comics. He would get racist comics, come on the show and have a bit of a laugh. He would get racist comments, and so he resigned because he
Why
was
would he get
Really?
racist comments? Was he?
he's Indigenous.
Fuck.
Okay.
Like for what on social media or in real, literally in the street.
I believe on social media.
Right. Okay. I don't know why I said that. Like it's not as bad.
Oh, okay, then it's fine.
Oh, it's just like 100 tweets a day. Oh, right, really? It is, I mean, obviously,
Is Indigenous? You can't say Aborigine anymore.
I mean, you can say whatever you want.
But yeah,
I don't actually know. I don't know.
you can't say. I mean, the shortened word of Aborigine, ABO, you can't say, can you?
No, you can
No.
spell it into a microphone.
But it doesn't feel like a slur.
It's this
here,
sort of
does it?
stuff is why Stan retired.
Okay.
He resigned.
So is that a slur though? That word, the long word I just said. No.
No.
But I think
is it?
now it's
Oh.
But I do think Indigenous has just become the sort of standard.
Yeah.
It's more complimentary, is it? Like you were here first, mate. It's your place.
Um,
It's more honourable.
Yeah, I mean, this is the worst topic.
I mean, you haven't heard some of the other ones we've had.
Don't be
No topic is off limits.
we can always cut it. Don't
No, that's fine.
we? Definitely want it. Don't worry.
But yeah,
I would say I'm not the expert.
But I suppose that
We're going to clip this.
I suppose, yeah.
Do you want to become a
But the question was, I suppose, about the race.
interesting.
about the racist comedians?
Or just yeah.
I don't think the comedians are particularly
I don't
racist in
think
Australia
it is,
at all.
like, no. What is there any old who are the old boys like Rodney Rude? And
I mean,
all
other
those
than
guys?
Rodney Rude and Kevin Bloody Wilson.
Yes.
Kevin Bloody Wilson.
I remember.
So they would be like,
With the
Santa
our
Claus,
Chubby
you
Brown
cunt, that
type.
one, wasn't it? He was good, wasn't he?
But yeah, so I suppose that's that old circuit. It's like here, that old generation were outdated, but now most of the young uns. I would say in terms of like progressive beliefs.
Yeah.
I would say the Melbourne circuit in particular is the most progressive like circuit I've seen in the world.
Hi, everybody. That's the end of the public episode.
Thanks for listening. Now, if you would like to hear more, you can go over to patreon.com/
We Are TVI. You have to put it in the search bar.
because we still haven't taken it off adult content.
It's triple X.
It's true. It's dirty, filthy.
Nasty.
Get your willies out when you listen. But yeah, go over to Patreon, sign up. What's the tiers? I can't remember what it is. 3.
We've got £3, £5, 10 and 20.
I mean, the 20 is a joke one. £10 is sort of a joke as well.
Yeah.
£3 gets you just all the back catalogue extra episodes and
Hours and hours
I mean, there's what I don't know how I'm 100
hours
extra sort of episodes, and the £5 tier you get all that as well. But you also, if you wish, get to join the TVI WhatsApp group. And
you can also see the full episode or listen to the full episode with a £3 tier.
Yeah. So
£5 gets you the WhatsApp group.
Yeah. Excellent. That's it. That's all you need to know. Get over to Patreon if you want more.
Thanks for listening.
Otherwise,
though.
just thanks for listening to the public episode, and we'll
Please
speak to you
like and
next week.
share.
Yeah, give it a share, mate. Tell your friends. Tell your families. Tell your kids. Bye-bye.
Love you.